Okay, welcome back. We're on page 81, and exercise 9 is about choosing your attitude. Now, before we get started, I'd like to ask you a question. And think about this for a moment. Have you ever been around someone who had a stinking, thinking attitude, and every time you saw that person, you said, "Oh my God, I'm running the other way." And hopefully it wasn't us, right? Hopefully it wasn't you. When you think about attitude, that is one thing that you have 100% control of in your life. There are not many other things that we have control of, but we have control of our attitude, about our behavior, our actions, and how we think.
You know, you remind me of Charles, our little pug. We used to have a little pug, the cutest little guy, the cutest little face, but occasionally he would cop an attitude. And you hear about cop an attitude, and he did not like getting his ears cleaned out. And he went from the most loving little puppy to the biggest attitude you could ever think of. And you can have fun with attitude, and people talk about attitude and what's with the attitude and so forth. And it's also a big source of conflict because, as it's said a lot and as you say all the time, you can control your attitude. That's the one thing in life we can control, our attitude. And by choosing our attitude, it can directly impact the course of a relationship, the course of a situation. Our attitude can escalate a conflict. It can de-escalate a conflict. It can bring happiness. It can bring harm. The attitude and the tongue are the very most powerful tools in the human body that can do much good or can do great harm.
Exactly. Attitude is like a double-edged sword. And attitude can also be based on the situation. Sometimes we design our attitude to posture ourselves in life given a certain situation in which we have already thought of the outcome. As an example, if there's an argument at home, if there's an argument at work, if there's an argument in the community, we have to stop for a moment and discern the attitude that I bring to that environment. What is it that I'm looking for? What is it that I'm looking at the end? What is the expectation? So probably in some situations, you could design your attitude to make it a win-win situation for all. And as Rich just said, in life, you're going to have a lot of tumultuous times. And sometimes when there's rough waters in the sea, so to speak, you want to make sure that you discern your posture and how you approach and deal with it.
We actually reference really excellent research in the book about optimism and how it impacts the health of your life. So as you read through that, you're going to really be impressed by that. And it's amazing how optimism can impact the success in your life. Then as we think about the attitude and our thoughts and how our thoughts influence our behaviors, our thoughts influence our actions, our thoughts influence our relationships with people, there's a really excellent model in the book that walks you through 4 steps of how you can actually use this tool because, step 4 is about using tools and resources. So we have tools in here that are going to enable you to very, very quickly establish solid, functional, healthy relationships that are going to speed up your journey to success.
Exactly, and that's on page 84. One of the other things in that model that Rich just spoke of on page 84, your thought life is critical to your success. And everything starts with how we think. Everything in life starts with how we think. How we think determines how we speak. When we speak out loud, our ears hear it again and it's reinforced. So it's a revolving door there. And once we speak, we tend to believe it because we've stated it. And once we've stated it, it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes a destiny. And it becomes our character. That's why when you say, "Hey, do you know Joe?" Yeah, "Oh yeah, I know Joe because Joe has this certain personality. I know Joe like the back of my hand." Well, that's because we all uniquely set the tone based on how we think.
And we can also train ourselves, Charlie, to have good attitudes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something that you're born with or something that's a magical. It's not a gift or a talent. It's actually something that we choose and something that we train into our behaviors. We talk about how to create good and bad habits in here and how it takes 21 days to create a good habit or a bad habit. We talk about focusing on truth and facts and minimizing assumptions. And it's all laid out here on page 86 and 87, and we have the questions to fill out in the workbook that will actually walk you through creating the discipline, habit, and exercise of creating a good habit and good attitudes.
Exactly. You know, one of the other things about attitudes is you look in the mirror every morning and affirm to yourself that you'll become a solution person. You'll look for solutions. As you're transitioning out and looking for employment or looking for a career or maybe your own business, the world will pay you handsomely if you help them solve solutions. And it's all in the attitude that you carry with yourself. It's all in how you posture yourself. If you become a servant leader and become a solution finder, people will pay for that. So just consider that.
I think in closing, I'd like to say that developing habits, developing a good attitude, the tools that are in this book are really valuable. They're proven. They've been used and developed over hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. You know,
Right.
There's a lot of things here that have been used in different arenas of life. We pulled them all together in this one area, these series of exercises in step 4, and they will really serve you well. So go ahead again and enjoy this. You're learning a lot now. Your journaling is becoming very full. I know you're starting to see fruit from your learning and from your labors, and I know you're beginning to teach other people in your life about these principles, and you probably have some other people also developing life plans as well. Anything you'd like to add for closing, Charlie?
Well, not closing of this session. I think you've said it all, but I'll just end it with this: is the attitude that you carry in life today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life will serve you well. You know, there are brain studies that say that our brains emit chemicals that permeate our body. A positive attitude, an optimistic person has positive chemicals that go throughout the body. Flip the coin over. If we're a negative, stinking, thinking type of person, negative chemicals permeate our body, and that's what our body becomes. More people make themselves ill by being pessimistic, by being doom and gloom, by seeing the world small. Don't do that. And I did that for many years, but I turned it around, as Rich just said. So stay tuned. There's plenty more.
Thank you.